In this video, we're going to be talking about product rule. The general formula for this will be the derivative of u times v will be u multiplied by the derivative of v plus v multiplied by the derivative of u. Let's see some examples. Y here would be x squared multiplied by x cubed. Assign values here. U here would be x squared. The derivative of x squared would be 2x. V would be x cubed. And the derivative of x cubed would be 3x squared. Y prime now would be x squared multiplied by the derivative of v, which is 3x squared, plus v, which is x cubed, multiplied by derivative of u, which is 2x. The final answer would be 3x raised to the power of 4 plus 2x raised to the power of 4. Let's try this example. U here would be x squared plus 1. Derivative of this would be simply 2x. As for v, it will be x plus 3. Derivative of x plus 3 would be 1. Y prime now here would be u, which is x squared plus 1, multiplied by v, which dv, which is 1, plus v, which is x plus 3, multiplied by du, which is 2x. Multiply all of this and you will get x squared plus 1 plus 2x squared plus 6x. Simplify this even more further and you will get 3x squared plus 6x plus 1. Let's solve this example. Y equals 2x plus 5 multiplied by x squared minus 4x. U here would be 2x plus 5. The derivative of this will be 2. V here would be x squared plus minus 4x. Derivative of this would be 2x minus 4. Y prime now here would be 2x plus 5 multiplied by 2x minus 4 plus x squared minus 4x multiplied by 2. Simplify this, you will get 4x squared minus 8x plus 10x minus 20 plus 2x squared minus 8x. Simplify this and you will get 6x squared plus 10x minus 20. Now, let's try some trigonometric functions. Y here would be x squared multiplied by sine of x. U here would be x squared. Derivative of x squared would be 2x. V would be sine of x, and derivative of sine of x will be cosine of x. Y prime now here would be x squared multiplied by cosine of x plus sine of x multiplied by 2x. Simplify this and you will get x squared cosine of x plus 2x sine of x. Let's try this. X cosine of x. U here would be x, and derivative of x would be 1. V here will be cosine of x, and derivative of cosine of x would be negative sine of x. Y prime would be x multiplied by negative sine of x plus cosine of x multiplied by 1. Simplify this, you will get negative x sine of x plus cosine of x. Let's solve this. X cubed plus 1 multiplied by tangent of x. U here would be x cubed plus 1, and derivative of x cubed plus 1 would be 3x squared. V would be tangent of x, and derivative of tangent of x would be secant squared of x. Y prime now here would be x cubed plus 1 multiplied by secant squared x plus v, which is tangent of x, multiplied by 3x squared. Solve this and you will get x cubed secant squared x plus secant squared x plus 3x squared tangent of x. Let's try a bit of exponential. Y here would be x multiplied by e raised to the power of x. U here would be x, and derivative of x would be 1. V here would be e raised to the power of x, and derivative of e raised to the power of x would be e raised to the power of x. The explanation for this will be the formula for exponential for derivatives would be EU will be EU multiplied by du. So in this case, e raised to the power of x, u here would be x. So the derivative of x would be 1. So it's basically e raised to the power of x multiplied by 1. So it's basically the same. So y prime now here would be x multiplied by e raised to the power of x plus e raised to the power of x multiplied by 1. Final answer would be x multiplied by e raised to the power of x plus e raised to the power of x. Let's solve this problem. Y equals x squared multiplied by e raised to the power of 2x. U here would be x squared. Derivative of x squared would be 2x. V here would be e raised to the power of 2x, and derivative of this would be 2e raised to the power of 2x. As usual, the formula for this would be eu multiplied by derivative of u. U here in this case is 2x. Derivative of u would be 2. So in this case, e raised to the power of 2x would be e raised to the power of 2x multiplied by 2, which makes it 2 multiplied by e raised to the power of 2x. Y prime now here would be x squared multiplied by 2e raised to the power of 2x plus e raised to the power of 2x multiplied by 2x. Final answer would be x squared multiplied by 2e raised to the power of 2x, so put 2 here, e raised to the power of 2x plus 2x e raised to the power of 2x. Let's try to solve this. 2x plus 1 multiplied by e raised to the power of negative x. U here would be 2x plus 1. Derivative of 2x plus 1 would be 2. V would be e raised to the power of negative x. And derivative of v would be negative e raised to the power of negative x. In this case, u here would be negative x. So derivative of negative x would be negative 1. In this case, e raised to the power of negative x. E raised to the power of negative x multiplied by negative 1, which is the du. The answer would be negative e raised to the power of negative x, which is this. Y prime now here would be 2x plus 1 multiplied by negative e raised to the power of negative x plus e raised to the power of negative x multiplied by 2. The final answer would be negative 2x e raised to the power of negative x minus e raised to the power of negative x plus 2e raised to the power of negative x. Let's try to solve two trigonometric problems together. Y equals sine of x cosine of x. U here would be sine of x, and derivative of sine of x would be cosine of x. V here would be cosine of x, and derivative of cosine of x would be negative sine of x. Y prime now here would be sine of x multiplied by negative sine of x plus cosine of x multiplied by cosine of x. Final answer would be negative sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x. Y equals tangent of x multiplied by secant of x. U here would be tangent of x. Derivative of tangent of x would be secant squared of x. V would be secant of x. Derivative of secant of x would be secant of x tangent of x. Y prime now here would be tangent of x multiplied by secant of x tangent of x plus secant of x multiplied by secant squared of x. Final answer now would be secant of x tangent squared of x plus secant cube of x. Let's solve this. Sine of 2x multiplied by cosine of 3x. U here would be sine of 2x. Derivative of sine of 2x here would be 2 sine of 2x. The reason for this is because of the chain rule. Sine of 2x. How to get its derivative? First, the rule for chain rule is to identify the outer function, which is sine of 2x, and inner function here would be 2x, which is g of x, and the outer function would be f of x. The formula for this would be take the derivative of the outer function multiplied by the derivative of the inner function. So the derivative of sine would be cosine of 2x multiplied by the derivative of the inner function, which is 2x. The derivative of 2x would be 2. Multiplying these two together and you will get 2 cosine of 2x. Now v would be cosine of 3x. Derivative of cosine of 3x would be negative 3. Derivative of cosine of 3x would be negative 3 sine of 3x. I made a mistake here. This should be cosine, not sine. Now, the explanation for this also is based on the chain rule. Let's say this is cosine of 3 of x. Now, the derivative of cosine would be negative sine 3x multiplied by the derivative of 3x would be 3. So the answer would be negative 3 sine of 3x, which is this. So plug this according to the formula and you will get sine of 2x multiplied by derivative of v, which is negative 3 sine of 3x plus v, which is cosine of 3x multiplied by the derivative of u, which is 2 cosine of 2x. Simplify this and you will get negative 3 sine of 3x multiplied by sine of 2x plus 2 cosine of 2x multiplied by cosine of 3x. Let's try mixing exponential with trigonometry. Y equals e raised to the power of x multiplied by sine of x. U here would be e raised to the power of x. Derivative of e raised to the power of x is still the same. V would be sine of x. And derivative of sine of x would be cosine of x. Y prime now here would be e raised to the power of x multiplied by cosine of x plus sine of x multiplied by e raised to the power of x. Simplify it and you will get e raised to the power of x cosine of x plus e raised to the power of x sine of x. You can simplify this further by factoring out e raised to the power of x and put this in. Let's solve this. E raised to the power of x multiplied by cosine of x. U here would be e raised to the power of negative x. Derivative of this would be negative e raised to the power of negative x. V would be cosine of x, and derivative of cosine of x would be negative sine of x. Y prime now here would be e raised to the power of negative x multiplied by negative sine of x plus cosine of x multiplied by negative e raised to the power of negative x. Final answer now would be negative e raised to the power of negative x multiplied by sine of x plus minus e raised to the power of negative x cosine of x. You can factor out negative e here and you will get e negative raised power of x multiplied by sine of x plus cosine of x. Let's solve this. e raised to the power of 2x multiplied by tangent of x. U here would be e raised to the power of 2x. Derivative of e raised to the power of 2x would be 2e raised to the power of 2x. V here would be tangent of x. Derivative of tangent of x would be secant squared of x. Y prime now would be e raised to the power of 2x multiplied by secant squared x plus tangent of x multiplied by 2e raised to the power of 2x. Final answer would be secant squared x e raised to the power of 2x plus 2 tangent of x multiplied by e raised to the power of 2x. You can also factor e raised to the power of 2x out, and you will get secant squared of x plus 2 tangent of x. Let's try some more bit challenging examples. Starting with y equals x squared plus 1 multiplied by ln of x. U here would be x squared plus 1. Derivative of this would be 2x. V would be ln of x. Derivative of ln of x would be 1 over x. Formula for the derivative of natural logarithm would be u prime over u. In this case, ln of x. Derivative of x would be 1 over x. So y prime here would be x squared plus 1 multiplied by 1 over x plus ln of x multiplied by 2x. The final answer would be x squared multiplied by 1 over x. It's simply x. Plus 1 multiplied by 1 over x is simply 1 over x. Plus 2x ln of x. You can rearrange this and you will get 2x ln of x plus x plus 1 over x. Let's try this example. 3x squared plus 2x multiplied by the square root of x. U here would be 3x squared plus 2x. Derivative of this would be 6x plus 2. V here would be square root of x, or x raised to the power of 1/2. Derivative of this would be 1/2 of x raised to the power of 1/2, or 1 over 2 raised to the square root of x. Y prime now here would be 3x squared plus 2x multiplied by 1 over 2 square root of x plus square root of x multiplied by 6x plus 2. Final answer now would be 3x squared over 2 multiplied by the square root of x plus 2x multiplied by 2 multiplied by square root of x plus 6x raised to the power of 3/2 plus 2 multiplied by the square root of x. Now, how I got the derivative of x raised to the power of 1/2? Simply because of the power rule. X raised to the power of n is equal to n multiplied by x raised to the power of n minus 1. So, and here would be 1/2, so put this 1/2 multiplied by x, and 1/2 minus 1 would be negative 1/2. And so I just simplify this. The meaning of x raised to the power of negative 1 would simply 1 over x. And x raised to the power of 1/2 would be square root of x. So by mixing this together, x raised to the power of negative 1/2, it would be 1 over square root of x. And add 1/2 there. Put 2 besides him, so you will get 1 over 2 multiplied by the square root of x. Let's solve this. X squared plus 1 multiplied by sine of 2x. U here would be x squared plus 1. Derivative of x squared plus 1 would be 2x. V would be sine of 2x. Derivative of sine of 2x would be 2 cosine of 2x. Y prime now here would be x squared plus 1 multiplied by 2 cosine of 2x plus sine of 2x multiplied by 2x. The final answer here would be x squared 2x squared cosine of 2x plus 2 cosine of 2x plus 2x sine of 2x.